6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Guerrero won it. Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano. Using the ropes, the stadium. Smile from Sammy Pacquiao. Oh, counter assertive.
Derecha en dos oportunidades. El Canelo alcanzó ese daño con él.
And thanks to those joining me live, those of you joining me on the archive, the style here. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. If you're watching on the archive right now, leave a comment while you watch, of course, and tell me what you think. A lot of feedback in my last two videos, especially the Jayo Pattaya one, and I appreciate it. Make sure you share the video on your social media platforms. Hit the bell and the all, that way you're notified every time the style boxing comes on live. Right? I wonder if I do that intro in my sleep sometimes. You know what I mean? I don't know. But a couple of things, right? A couple of things. I have more to say about Sloppy Mauricio Suleiman. I have more to say about the Ali Act. Of course, there was a hearing today. I watched some of it. There's just so much window dressing with the government. Holy shit, brother. They spend so much time sucking each other off instead of just getting to the point sometimes. It's insane, right? But hey, that's how it is. I mean, no different than a WBC convention, but hey. And then of course, Cruz versus Roach. Pitbull, Esoc, Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach. All right. And I like the fight. I don't think it should be pay-per-view, but I like the fight. And we're going to definitely get to that fight. But first, let's just get the fight out of the way really quick. So Cruz versus Roach. I think this is going to be a very good, entertaining fight. I do believe that Roach is going to try to be more of the mover, the outboxer in this fight. He may at times, work on the inside, but then kind of do an in and out type of thing. Stick and move more so is what I'm looking at with the jab, stick, move, set up an angle, and try to pop, Cruz with some counters. That's what I foresee because I just don't, even if he's planning on fighting on the inside, I don't think he's going to stay on the inside. I just don't. I just think Pitbull Cruz is a better inside fighter. I do think Pitbull Cruz's hooks could be a problem on the inside for him. And we also know that there's a way to frustrate Pitbull Cruz. There's a way to beat him, and that's by boxing on the move. And that's what I believe he's going to do. I foresee a good fight. I'm having a hard time picking a winner, and it's probably because I'm a big Pitbull Cruz fan, right? I'm a fan of Pitbull Cruz. I like Pitbull Cruz. A lot of people hate on Pitbull Cruz. A lot of you out there just hate on him because he's on PBC. All right, just be honest. Otherwise, you would love the guy. All right, the guy, he's entertaining to watch. He fights whoever they put in front of him. I know he's been accused of, he was ducking this guy and that guy. I never bought that nonsense, to be quite frank with you. I believe he'll get in the ring with anybody. And here he is. He's about to fight Lamont Roach. Like Tank Davis didn't want to rematch Lamont Roach. I mean, so part of me, like I'm really rooting for him. I really want him to win, but I can't get that Rayo fight out of my head. I can't get how Rayo was able to kind of control that fight, especially in the latter half. And all Pitbull Cruz had to offer afterwards to say, he was running the whole night, right? And you could empathize with that, but however, you need to be realistic and look at the, okay, who's going to fight next? How's that guy likely going to fight? And can he emulate what Rayo was doing? And I do believe Roach can emulate a lot of what Rayo was doing. There's some things even that I believe he could do a little better than Rayo. I don't think it's as hard as Rayo, but I do think he can, work a little better on the inside than Ryu, and I do think he'll be able to outbox, be the outboxer better than Ryo was, quite frankly. So um, I do foresee Lamont Roach. If I'm going to give you an official prediction, I do think Lamont Roach wins this fight by a very close decision. I think the judges maybe split, but I am not ruling out the possibility that Pitbull Cruz could win, and who I'm rooting for. But my official prediction is definitely Lamont Roach by decision. I see some people say that he may knock out Pitbull Cruz. I mean, I would be very surprised if he does knock him out. To be honest with you, but I don't know if Lamont Roach has been doing interviews saying, "Oh, I could definitely knock him out." To kind of, yeah, I don't know, just to play mind games with Pitbull Cruz a little bit. Like, is he going to be moving in this fight? Is he coming at me? I don't know. I just don't know what that's about. But I to be honest with you, but I do think it's a mind game thing. And but I don't think anybody, if anyone gets stopped in this fight, it's Lamont Roach. If early in this fight, Pitbull Cruz can't mess with the hook, right? If early in this fight he's rocking Lamont Roach, um, best believe Pitbull Cruz wins that fight, right? If it's looking kind of like a dull fight early and it's looking similar to what the second half of the Ryo fight looked like, I believe the rest of the fight is going to end up that way, right? And that's what I foresee. So, for what it's worth, all right? Andre Rodriguez, how's it going, brother? Right? I hope everything is good on your end, right? I haven't seen you in a while, actually. I'm thinking about it. No, but Andre Rodriguez in the building. I hope everything's good on your end, brother. All right. And yeah. So that's my Pitbull Cruz. I think Lamont Roach wins by decision. I'm not very confident about it, but that's my prediction. I'm going to give it to you. And if I change my mind, I'll let you guys know beforehand. There's a possibility that I will, but that's my prediction as of right now. Very rarely do I change my pick last minute, but that's what I'm going to go with right now. Right? Yeah. So let's talk about the Ali Revival Act. Let's talk about how the Ali Revival Act is totally being talked about. I think it's already over, by the way. It was relatively empty. There was not a lot of people in Congress there, to be honest with you. It was still kind of long. You had all these congressmen, like just again, like just not getting to the point. And when I was a young man, we used to settle things in the boxing ring. If the young men that played sports there, if two basketball players had an argument, instead of expelling them, they would just take them to the boxing ring and they would box. And then they would get all tired and hug each other, and they would settle things that way back in my day. Like, all right. Man, back in my day, boxing was the biggest thing I ever seen. Like, okay, whatever, right? There's a dude over here. He was from Kentucky. Like, man, we really want boxing to come back to Kentucky. Well, good luck with that, right? Like, I mean, we just had a lot of that. We had a lot of I know Ali. I believe it was Ali. Well, Miss Ali was there, and again, oh yeah, your husband, he meant so much to the sport. They were making it about a Muhammad Ali when it has nothing to do with Muhammad Ali and Muhammad's legacy and Muhammad this, Muhammad that. Speaking of Miss Ali, I mean, she did mention about I see a lot of people mock this, by the way. They've been mocking the fighter minimum, right? Which it sounds low, and it is low, to be honest with you, for a sport like boxing. But the minimum that the Revival Act would pass is that it would raise the minimum that boxers are guaranteed in this country per round, which is it would raise it to $150. That's it. $150 a round. Now, I've been seeing people mocking this, like, oh, that's it. That's what they want the fighters to fight for. The UFC's coming to rip everybody off. Super's gonna UBOs, get them out of here. Like, you guys don't realize they're raising the minimum. But you do realize that, right? you do realize that the minimum is less now. We have boxers in this country, UBO or not, fighting for less than that. This minimum does not pertain. It doesn't pertain to, the dudes on the Saudi cards and the dudes you see on television right now. That's not what it's for. They're not going to make Shakur Stevenson fight for $150 a round. All right, you blithering idiots. Right? They're not going to make Canelo and Bud Crawford fight for $150 a round, bro. Like, go sit down somewhere. Like, just shut up. It's raising the absolute minimum for all fighters. Why would anybody be against that? Why would you be against raising the minimum? That doesn't even make any sense, bro. Right? It's not that the UBO is only going to pay that minimum to fighters. That'll be the minimum for everybody. So anyway, and if that's the minimum for UBOs, it's still higher than the standard now. That's crazy. And what are we doing about healthcare? Right? We keep hearing about, the WBC, it's taking care of all the fighters. Okay, well, how about we just give these fighters, insurance, so they're taken care of immediately after and much way after their fights. Why not do that? Why not pass something for every American fighter can be covered with health care? Why would anybody be against that, bro? Okay, people, they're just out here just complaining to complain. That's all they're doing. Oh, look, it's only $150. It's only $150 a round. What's less than that now? Charlie. Becky, it's less than that now. I guess so. I mean, I don't know, but hey, if you're a club fighter making $120 a round, hey, $30 more a round is better. And it's per schedule round, by the way. They can't like, you're not gonna do it out in the first round. We're gonna pay you less. No, right? Like it's but Jesus Christ, bro. Like what's the big deal? Now, do I think that's still too low? Yes. Then make that argument. Then say, no, we want it higher. Then it's 300 around. Then argue that. Don't argue, oh, we don't want to do that. But look, it's gonna get passed, bro. Like the Revival Act's gonna pass. Like there's no doubt in my mind they're gonna pass it, right? And a lot of interesting stuff, but nothing that I learned and nothing new to me anyway, right? It was just them scratching each other's balls and talking about the good old days and wanting to bring back the good old days. And he had like one dude there arguing that no fighter is for this, none. Then why aren't they there, bro? Then why aren't they there? Like, what's going on? Right? They knew about it, but I personally don't think fighters are taken care of and it's funny how like they expose the business themselves, right? They're like, oh, everything's fine right now. What do you mean? We don't need to change anything. But then in the same breath, oh my God, why didn't Terrence Crawford donate all this money? Why did he give the sanctioning fee? Look at all these fighters that are struggling. Look to help the struggling fighters. Like, well, how good is the system? If we need a charity to help the fighters of the past. What kind of a shitty ass system is that, bro? What have we done? Yeah, no, I agree with this. They should raise it, but the people mocking it, like they think that they're trying to bring down the salary of fighters. Like that's not what's happening. So I saw one guy make the argument, which I've been making, like, hey, well, at least it'll give them a guaranteed contract. If with win, lose, or draw, they know they still have a fight coming, so, it's going to work out for a lot of fighters, right? It is what it is, bro. Hey, traditional promoters, your cannon fodder is no longer going to just be used for cannon fodder, right? You're going to have less no names to pick from. You're gonna have to maybe make more competitive fights again. All right, it is what it is. But what are we doing? So I do think that the Revival Act is gonna pass. All right. I don't think it harms the sport. I don't think they're doing anything that's against the wellness of the fighters, right? If the fighters are doing so great under the current system, right? Why do we have people, including WBC, trying to shame Terrence Crawford and not giving a sanctioning fee of 300,000 because this is for to help struggling fighters? If we're doing so great, why are we doing this, bro? What have we done? So that's that. I want to talk about the WBC Mauricio Suleiman again. Look, I think, man, this thing keeps I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it keeps wiggling on me. Maybe I should. There it is. All right. It was loose. You know what I mean? So it is what it was. It was a little loose there. Mauricio Suleiman and his backers, right? In fact, let me share my ex, bro. So you guys don't see. I'm just I think a lot of y'all think I'm just making this shit up. Like people are like, oh, come on. No one is defending, the Ali Act and all that other shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know if the hold on. Where do we get people responding to us? How do we get that on the? I can't even find it. I can't. What's going on? I'm gonna have to manually find it because the browser version just sucks, bro. You know what I mean? The browser version is horrible. God, it's annoying. Like the replies aren't there. Like at least I don't see them. But yeah, I can't even find those replies anymore. This is insane. Hold on, give me a second. What are we doing, bro? Yeah, so the notification and mentions is not on the browser. I feel like a newbie here, but I literally don't see. I don't see it. I never realized that X doesn't have this stuff, right? I think I can see there's no the notification bell and the mentions and stuff. It's not there. Like, where is it? I don't know. Yeah, this is weird, bro. So if I go to replies, I know I replied to the dude. So let's go over this one. Whatever. We'll make it work somehow, right? And take a look at this, all right? We got posts like this. Ignacio Ortiz. If you're watching, show yourself. I would love for you to come on and explain yourself. I don't know if it was named after his dad or not, but hold on. Again, this is my problem with the way this shit works, bro. All right. Jesus Christ, Elon fucked up Twitter, bro. He just fucked it up, bro. You can't even navigate this shit properly, bro. What are we doing? I want there we go. Jesus Christ. So this is a response to this, all right?
Organization. And by the way, the gentleman who runs that organization, this is supposed to be a nonprofit organization. going into Canelo Crawford, said he couldn't stay in a regular hotel room. He needed a suite. He wanted to make sure that his tickets were front row. He wanted to make sure there were ample number of tickets. It all seems quite odd to me that a sport would be run.
Did you hear that? Mauricio Suleiman was demanding a suite. He was demanding so many amount of tickets. He wanted a front row seat, right? All these demands that Mauricio Suleiman was making, right? I guess that is Nacho, but it is what it is. Mauricio, and he said that the money he asked for is going. This is the thing, right? He keeps saying that it's going to broke fighters, to help fighters in need, and all this other stuff, right? That's what he says. Like that's what Ignacio said. Jules, that's who Ring IQ. In a boxing scene interview, Mauricio, they had an interview with Mauricio, and he stated that the money he asked for was going to be used for a fund for broke fighters who have trouble financially and have been in cases with WBC, did help fighters in multiple cases. I don't know if it was named after his dad and all. All I'm saying that they've actually helped former fighters out through financial difficulties. And that's commendable, despite Mauricio's rep as a scum sucker. Here's my response. Let me ask you this, right? If Mauricio's so concerned about broke fighters, if Mauricio Suleiman is so concerned about fighters that are like, then why did Mauricio Suleiman, can somebody tell me, why is he spending money on special belts? Why is he spending money on statues? Why is he spending money on making a ring for the winner of Canelo Crawford? What does that have to do with your foundation? Exactly. How many fighters could he have helped with a medical bill instead of making a stupid statue? How many fighters are not able to pay the rent this month, but you need to make a ring? How much money did he spend on all those t-shirts, all that promoting you were doing that nobody asked you to do, not even your job to do that? But these times you're going too far. He's trying to increase his brand. He's trying to, and we'll get to all that. Why do you need a suite? I've stayed in Vegas. I know how expensive, right? Even a cheap-ass hotel is in Vegas. You want to stay at the Luxor, like, you know what I mean? Like a room with bed bugs still runs you in the hundreds in Vegas during fight week. All right? Now, am I saying you should get a room with bed bugs? No. Right? I'm not saying that you put them in the Motel 6. But, well, you can't take a 5-star, room at the MGM. Like you're too good for that? You need a suite at the Wynn or some shit? Like, well, what do you need? What do you mean you need a suite? A suite for what? Let me, how much does a suite run in Vegas? Let me look this up, right? How much is a suite in Las Vegas average? Right? An extravagant suite in Las Vegas, right, could be anywhere from $1,000 to $40,000 a night, according to this AI right here, right? And Mauricio doesn't want to say just any, I mean, if he's demanding a nice suite, right? I mean, Mauricio wants one of those at least. I mean, how much was it, Mauricio? We're getting $2,000 a night suite. Like, what type of suite we're staying at? You were there like 4 or 5 nights. How many fighters could you have helped with that money, right? Instead of taking it to being a suite. Shout out to Mr. T in the building. How's it going, brother? All those tickets, right? Does it have to be for your pals and for you? Like, why not help struggling fighters get front row seats to watch the fights, Mauricio? Well, why do these board of governors, wink, wink, need to get front row seats or good seats to an extravagant event like this, where those tickets, we know what those close by tickets, those front row tickets, we know how much those tickets cost. They were very expensive, right? We're talking about a $40 million gate that this made, and they had to comp out a certain amount of tickets that were probably worth in the hundreds of, if not thousands, right? How many fighters could have been helped with that, right? But this isn't right. He runs a WBC. He runs a business. He's part of the reason why it's undisputed. You need to understand that the WBC was a big reason why this thing was a big deal, right? If the WBC belt just spawns money, right, Mauricio? If the WBC belt alone is able to make fighters ultra millionaires, if you believe that your belt and your brand is a reason why Canelo and Crawford are making all these millions, right? If you believe that, well, why can't you duplicate that with other fighters, right? So you collect all the sanctioning fees and help all those fighters with. Why can't you do that? Like, here's the reality, man. I'm tired of people coming at me, right? And I've had a couple I just can't find. You know what? It's going to be right here, actually. What the fuck, bro? There it is. Look at that. Dudes like this, right? In response to me saying, you know what doesn't strip fighters for not paying sanction fee? The Ring Magazine belt. The Ring belt new owner actually put the bill for Canelo versus Crawford. Mauricio literally made a special ring for Undisputed, for that attention. They got attention all over the world. You know who didn't pay a sanction fee for over 1,000 days? Jamal. Jamal didn't give you squat for over 1,000 days, but you're mad at Crawford because you don't want to take the same amount he's offering the other sanctioning bodies. But okay, right? This dude, spirit to our Lord, Carlos, not our Carlos. Our Carlos is a prophet. But this Carlos said, I mean, you guys tell me if this just reeks of like just tell me what you think it reeks of. Does not provide it concrete, life-changing aid, financial grants, emergency supplies, and rehabilitation for thousands worldwide, especially in crises like COVID-19, like the WBC has and does. The Ring Magazine. You guys see my response there? All right? You guys see my response? Like, the WBC is so giving with other people's money. They're so giving, aren't they? So giving. They're so giving with the money they wanted to take from Terence Crawford. Right? So giving. Look, if the WBC, and this will be my response to anybody making this argument, anybody, and I had more guys like this, but my response to all of this, very simple. If the WBC wants to be a foundation, if the WBC wants to function as a foundation, as a charity, if they want to do that, then do it. Right? Then go be a charity. Go be a foundation. And do what every other charity and other foundation does. Other charities, other foundations don't force people to give them money. Other charities, other foundations take donations, right? People donate to that cause because they believe in that cause. If you want to have a charity, then have it. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do good deeds through a charity, that's great. Plenty of charities out there do a lot of great charitable things. In fact, Terrence Crawford has donated to charities himself. Terrence Crawford has, out of his own pocket, helped kids in his community, right? Terrence Crawford has done that. A lot of it has helped kids with cancer and all that. Like, I mean, I could make the argument the other way around. Oh my God, those sanctioning fees, you're taking money from them to give it to those kids with cancer. Can I once help kids with cancer? You're taking his money. Right? Like, we're not doing that the other way around. The WBC is not the only organization in the world that gives things and functions that way. But if they want to have a charity, then have a charity. All right? If you want to function as a charity and as a foundation, go be a charity and as a foundation. You may have to do that anyway, by the way. Because the way things are going for the WBC, in a couple of years, you may become irrelevant. So you may have to become a foundation and a charity. Just putting that out there. You want to be a charity, go be a charity. Right? Plenty of people love to donate to charities, and if people believe in your cause, they'll donate to it. Why don't you dudes like Carlos? Why don't you donate to the WBC Cares and WBC Foundation? All the people that believe in it so much, well, why you like, you know, put it out there and you know, and donate to it yourself, share it on social media, and if you really believe in it, go do that. That's great. That's awesome. Go be a charity like everybody else. No other charity like does this shit. No other charity like openly brags about, you know, money laundering the money over to the charity. No other charity does this, bro. Find the charity. Like, find it. And if there is, it's probably pretty shady, right? You guys are telling me right now you don't think, hey man, we're going to charge you $300,000 for the sanctioning fee, but hey, over $200,000 of it is going to charity, by the way, just so you know. So there's fighters in need that you're not going to help if you don't give this money. Like, you don't find anything off about that, nothing off-putting about that. There's no bells ringing in your head. There's no red flags. You're not taking the money as a charitable donation. You are taking the money as a sanctioning fee. Sanctioning fees are charged when you're supposedly a nonprofit organization. They are charged to cover operating costs and to cover salaries of those that run that profit organization. That's what it's for. So when Mauricio says, oh, no, like 80% of it's going to go to the Jose Sulaiman Foundation, right? Then you're openly admitting, you're out in the open admitting that the money is not, that you're not using it for operating costs. You're not using it for the reason fighters pay you the sanctioning fee. Like, you're admitting that you're doing it. That's what you're doing. Like, what are we doing? Like, if you give a tip, if you go to a restaurant, right? Now, it's a little bit different, but just so you guys understand. If you go to a restaurant, you give a tip. Now, the purpose of the tip is what? You believe that the tip's going to go to your server, right? And that's what you think it's going to happen, right? If you only tip, let's say, instead of $30, you only give $10, right? And the manager shows up and he scolds the shit out of you. I can't believe you're not going to give the $30 that we recommended you to tip, sir. $20 of that tip It's going to go to my father's foundation that helps the homeless in the city. How dare you, good sir? Get out of my restaurant. I don't want any of your tip. Doesn't that just sound wrong? Doesn't that like wait, what? Like, that's not what I'm giving a tip for. Like, if you want me to donate to a foundation and a charity, then you could have asked me, right? And there was another line item. Hey, would you like to donate? Like, you know what I mean? Like when you go to McDonald's, would you like to donate your remaining change to the Ronald McDonald Fund? Right? They tell you what it's for, bro. Right? They tell you what it's for. But if you believe you're paying towards something, but it's actually for something else, right? This shouldn't be flying. You shouldn't extort fighters in order to money launder money to your fucking foundation that we can't even audit, by the way. I'm sure they do things for PR purposes to help fighters. I'm sure they do that. Now, does every penny of it go to that? I don't know. I mean, I would like for it to be audited, to be quite frank with you, right? That's what I would like to know. Because when they spend all this money to create these special belts and statues and to promote, it didn't seem like they're only using money for operating costs and for salaries for a nonprofit organization. That's what I'm telling you guys, right? If you know what, this is a great point, right? If I mean, what are we doing, guys? If it's really simple to me, I don't believe this. Like, the sanctioning fee should be specifically for operating costs and to cover the salary of those running this organization. You are a nonprofit, is what you are, right? If you want to have a charity, you want to have a foundation, that's fine. I'm not against that. But what I don't like is this extortion that they're doing to fighters, guilt tripping fighters to pay a sanctioning fee because this is going to go to fighters in need. All right? Like that's some bullshit, bro. Sorry. That's some bullshit. Well, look, the WBC does a lot of things that they agree to do and they don't do. So it is what it is, right? It just is what it is. The WBC is allowing Roberto Matias to still fight after he popped dirty. They're allowing Ryan Garcia to fight for a belt. They just put Conor Benn number one. Like there's no accountability. But you want Crawford to be accountable, right? I mean, Otis Suleiman exposed himself. He's basically admitting that, hey, I only needed like 80,000 to cover operating costs and all that. Like you know what I mean? The rest going to the foundation, right? Okay, so that's all you should be getting, in my opinion. What do you mean all that's going to go to the foundation? Why can't fighters donate to the charities they want to donate to? Why can't we just do that? And if the WBC wants to tell fighters, hey, in order for us to be involved with the fight, we require a donation, then just say that. But that's not what they're saying. They're not collecting this money as a donation. That's not what they're doing, right? They're collecting this money as a sanctioning fee, right? Claiming most of it is going to a foundation named after his fighter, claiming it's all used to help fighters in need. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We don't know, right? I think it's a money laundering scheme. That's what I think, if I'm honest with you, because they're working out of Mexico. There's no U.S. laws or anything that can audit them, right? So I find it very interesting that Mauricio comes out and like really most of it is for the charity, but you're going to strip Crawford. So you're saying that the operating costs would have been covered with what he paid the other sanctioning bodies. And by the way, everybody coming out, by the way, oh, they agreed beforehand. We don't even know, bro. We don't even know the details on that. So let's wait on the details when it comes to that. If you're going to just believe everything Mauricio Suleiman says, that's fine. Right? Why are they going so hard at the paint right now, trying to convince people, right, that it's about the charity and all that? Because people started questioning, why do they need so much money, bro? Errol Spence, remember when Errol Spence asked him, man, what did my money go to, man? Like, what are we doing with my money? My horrible Errol Spence accent. Where does my money go? Right? Where does my money go? Like, you notice ever since then, when fighters started asking, what are you doing with the sanctioning fees? Like, what do you do with this money exactly? Right? All of a sudden, all of the WBC, oh, what do you, we have a foundation. And we use it for fighters in need, fighters that are struggling, fighters that are like all of a sudden, right? Like they're coming out hard at the paint, what they're using the money for, right? We had WBO come out, oh, no, we use it to help fighters with their finances and do seminars, and we do this and we do that. And I don't know, man. I'm buying it. I'm just not, right? Like, if I just think it's bullshit, quite frankly. Like, I just got to be honest. And sometimes accusations are confessions, all right? First of all, the WBC, well, why do they go so hard at the paint and make claims? And most of it's going to the Jose Suleiman Foundation foundation to help fighters in need, and because people are less inclined to question you if you're doing good deeds than if you just admit you're doing it for profits, right? That's why. That's the reason why. Period, bro. Period. If you want to be involved in the world of all that, then go do that, bro. Would you guys like it if your job, like just without even asking you, took money out of your check, right? Claiming it's just additional taxes, but in reality, they're doing it to transfer money to a fund that they have for charity, right? And yeah, they have a website where they show everybody all the good deeds that they do, but then you find out that that it's going to this foundation, but you were never asked. Like, oh, that's what it's going for. And the moment you say, hey man, why you guys, why did I start getting more deductions from my check? Well, what's going on here? Hey man, it's going to the foundation to help sick kids with cancer. You piece of shit. Like what? Like, nobody asked me. You piece of shit. Look at what they're doing for these kids. But you guys wouldn't like it, bro. Like, you wouldn't like it. Like, it is what it is. You wouldn't like it. Plus, why should the WBC get more than the other sanctioning bodies? That's a great question. Why? Why did the WBC get? Now, Mauricio try to say because we made statues, we made a ring, we promoted the fight. Nobody asked you to promote. Nobody asked you to make fucking statues, and nobody asked you to make a ring, bro. Maybe you should have used that money for the fighters in need, Mauricio. Instead of demanding a suite, you know, maybe you should have asked for a donation. You should have been like, hey, yeah, I'll take this hotel, but can you do me a favor, Khan, and can you make a contribution of $1,000 for like, there's this charity I have, and right? This dude is taking a sanctioning fee, claiming it's for sanctioning, for operating costs, and he's money laundering the money over to a foundation named after his father, right? They do the virtual signaling. Like, this is the blueprint of Mauricio Suleiman. They did this with Bridgerweight, right? They did the same shit with Bridgerweight, same shit, right? The blueprint is what did they do with Bridgerweight? Nobody wanted a new weight class. Mauricio Suleiman knows, but Mauricio Suleiman wanted more sanctioning fees, right? He wanted to make more money, right? So we're going to create a new weight class that nobody wants. Nobody's asking for. There's no need for it, right? But there's a kid that is attacked by a dog because he was protecting his sister. His face gets all deformed. Everybody loves this kid. The kid goes viral, right? The WBC does something nice and they send him a belt and they say you are a champion for defending your sister. They invited him over to the to one of their organized events. All great stuff, right? And then what does Mauricio do? I mean, not want to not take advantage of the situation, right? He names a whole division after this kid. His name was Bridger Walker. We're going to create a new division. The division is Bridger weights, right? And every time somebody questioned the creation of this weight class, every time, why are you attacking the kid? This kid was protecting his sister. They made a weight class named after him. Like they're doing a good thing. They're naming in honor of this poor kid, and you're attacking the kid. No, it's about this motherfucker trying to make money with a new weight class, bro. He wasn't going to let a tragedy go to waste. So, I'm looking at the pattern, and like I said earlier, usually accusations are confessions. So when he comes out, he's like, "Oh yeah, if he goes, yeah, the Ring magazine only cares about money. The Ring magazine is only here for profit. They're a business, right? No, that's what you do, bro. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And you get the benefit of not paying taxes because you're putting it into a charity. No taxes because hey, you're only taking money for operating costs and for a salary. I mean, that's it. You're a nonprofit, right? You want all the benefits of the nonprofit, but you want to make the profits of an actual business. And this is my problem with all these sanctioning bodies, but the WBC especially, right? And all these guilt trip things, like, oh, well, what do you mean? I made statues, I made this, I made that. And you think that's why you deserve more money than the other sanctioning bodies. No, bro. Sit your ass down, dude. Hell no. Right? These style, why not have a direct deposit after Crawford check clears escrow? I mean, do I think they should all just have it escrow? Sure. I mean, I'm surprised that's not a thing already. But you're telling me Mauricio couldn't be like, you know what? Man, most of it is going to charity, bro. But fine. At least he's covering the operating costs. No, like he's gonna just strip them. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's we're taking the sanctioning fee money. Don't question why we're taking so much of it, right? And his 1-2 punch for justifying it is look at what we do with creating extra things and doing promotion and our presence, right? Our presence highlights these fighters and it makes them life-changing money. So we deserve our percentage, our cut, right? But not only do we deserve it, we use it for a good cause. Well, we gave it to the Jose Suleiman Fund. That's totally not audited by anybody. You don't catch the grift here? So when somebody comes out and says, hey, man, what do you guys do with this money now? They have an answer. Oh, what do you mean? We use it for this. We use it for that. Struggling fighters in need. And then you get dudes like that Mark that came out. He was like, oh yeah, look at what they do. They help during hard times. Da, 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 da. Like It's all a money laundering scheme, guys. That's all it is. That's all it is. You're telling you don't think Mauricio Suleiman has access to the money in the fund to use however he likes? Like what do you really believe that? I'm just asking. You don't think Mauricio has any access to those funds whatsoever? At all? Okay. I mean, like, it is what it is. You're more trusting than me if that's the case, right? What percentage of those funds need to be used to do the PR work and taking up pictures and videos of the help you do to fighters? Do you really need millions to do it? Not really. You don't really need that. So, this dude is not that hard to read, bro. That's the thing. Like, he's not that hard to figure out. He's not. This isn't very difficult, right? To like get to get to the bottom of. It's not that difficult, bro. Right? If 80% of the sanctioning fees are going to the foundation and after your father, right? Then you are openly admitting that you only need 20% for operating costs and for your salary, right? If you want to run a charity, go run a charity. If you want to have a foundation, right? Like I donate to this foundation, the Wounded Warriors Fund, right? I've donated to charities before. I'm not against people helping people. I'm not against charities. I'm not against foundations. Right? What I'm against is dudes like Mauricio Suleiman, right? Trying to guilt trip fighters for not and extorting them for this outrageous amount of money, right? Simply because, right? I just wanted you guys to really think about this. And using, and by the way, showing off how giving he is with other people's money. Always be very wary of people that are very giving with other people's money. All right? They're so giving. Honestly. So giving. They're so like Canelo helps kids with cancer in Mexico. Crawford helps kids in his community, right? I'm sure Crawford and other fighters that donated to they donated to good charitable causes before, bro. Like it's to me, we're looking at a symptom of a problem, and we have this many fighters that are struggling, and we have this many fighters that need help from foundations to pay their bills, their medical bills, to pay their funerals, to pay, their expenses. They're in need of any type of help, right? That sounds like a very serious symptom, and I'm not against a foundation to help those fighters, right? But I think it's time we start looking for solutions to this symptom, right? Because there's still a bunch of fighters that are not being helped because WBC doesn't help all of them. So what are we doing? Maybe when you want to create a league and give these fighters health insurance, maybe that's something we need to do, right? Maybe a better idea would be, let's create a foundation to help fighters in need, right? And for every fight, anytime there is a fight of any sort, right? Then a certain percentage of the profits, 1%, whatever it is, right? Whatever percent of the profits of that gate, of that money, whatever it is, it goes to that foundation for the fighters in need that the sport as a whole runs, not just as one sanctioning body, okay, that totally controls the money and gets it out of a sanctioning fee and we only know how much of it they supposedly put on that foundation only when they want to guilt trip a fighter and extort them for the money. All right, there's actually better ways to help these fighters in need. There's a symptom. There's a better way to solve this problem. Let's get to the root of it and solve it, right? Rather than just using these poor fighters, right? Using them, right, for PR purposes to extort fighters like Terence Crawford for more money. Because that's what's happening. And people, you guys need to start opening your minds, bro. Like, you got to stop being so gullible. Don't be so gullible. Like, oh, man, oh, they're going to use that money for the charity. That if it's for charity, why doesn't he say that? They don't say that. Shout out to Alexander Wilson. I appreciate the support, brother. Oh, this Suleiman Fund may not even be a 501c3 because the donations and fees to it are accepted and administered by the Nevada Community Foundation. Interesting. You know, we got to, like, look, I'm not against this foundation, guys. I'm not, right? But when Mauricio Suleiman receives the money, right, what he decides to do with it is up to him. So if he says, like, was $220,000 of it really going to go to the Jose Suleiman Foundation? Or did he just say that to just guilt trip the fuck out of Crawford and make dudes come out and be like, oh my God, Crawford, he's letting these poor souls. Oh, this Suleiman was going to help all these fighters in need, and Crawford just fucked it up, bro. Look at these fighters that are struggling with their medical bills, and fucking Crawford. I can't believe Crawford did that. It's crazy, bro. What are we talking about? He's so giving with other people's money, bro. But this is crazy. It's crazy. You know, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, it is what it is. Right? It's not their money. He helped them make the money with the president of the WBC. Okay, go do it with somebody else then. Go create statues in a ring and a special purple belt for another fight, and do it for Mario Barrios and Ryan. I'm sure the presence of the WBC will we will have an extravagant event. It will make $40 billion at the gate, life-changing money. I'm sure they're going to make $100 million, $50 million a piece because of WBC, right? I'm sure it's going to happen, right? Get the fuck out of here, right? This dude thinks WBC belts like a lamb. They just rub and ask for money and it comes out. If that's the case, you shouldn't have money. You shouldn't have a problem for your foundation, right? Nothing wrong with it, bro. If look, take the sanctioning fee at the other sanctioning bodies take, Mauricio. And then if you want to ask Canelo and Crawford, once they pay the same that the other guys paid, if you want to ask them, if you want to be like, hey, just by the way, totally up to you guys. You know, I have this foundation, whatever you want to donate, man, any amount, like, it's up to you. It will be much appreciated. This is what we use the money for, right? And if they want to donate, then let them donate to the foundation. That's how a charity works, bro. That's how it works. What do you mean? Then what have we done? So that's why I said thank you very much for that donation, Alexander Wilson. Thank you for giving me these $5. The 30% of it does go to YouTube, by the way. And I use the other percentage for a very important foundation, right? And shame on everyone else that didn't give me a super chat, right? Because those people in need are not going to have help, right? Because they wouldn't even give $1 for this very important, totally important foundation that I'm not going to let you at all look into. Shame on you. Shame on it. This is what Mauricio Suleiman is doing, bro. This is what he's doing, right? I mean, it would have been better if Alexander Wilson would have given me $50, right? Because $47 of that was going to go to this very important foundation. But Alexander Wilson doesn't want to help sick kids. You know, he doesn't want to help sick kids. So we only have enough money for the operating costs of the channel now. right? Because Alexander Wilson doesn't want to help kids in need that I'm totally giving the money to. Like, this is what Mauricio Suleiman does, guys. This is what he does. All right? It's what he's doing. And people are falling for it. Like, oh yeah, he should get more because of the foundation. What? He's accepting a sanctioning fee. Claiming. Like, what are we doing? 10% of it's going to go to the Cali X towards the crocodile moat around his compound. Right? Now, I've been very transparent as far as like, when I get money, right, for this channel, there's been times that I've donated the money, right, to like an amateur fighter, right, to help them, like Kayla Gomez, Cooper O'Connell, like, you know what I mean, Alexis, like, you know what I mean, to help them with like their whatever it is, right? But like, it is what it is. Some months I don't make that much, so it kind of just stays there, right? Last month I used it to buy this mic, right? But all of it is totally my decision. That's it. I decide to do those things. They're not like requirements. I'm not like, you guys don't have to give money out of your paycheck to D-Style Boxing and then I make these claims. All right? This is a bunch of horse shit. Mauricio Suleiman is full of shit. And that's it. Sorry, I'm not buying it, bro. If you want to be a foundation, go be a foundation like everybody else is. If you want to go do good things, go do good things, right? If you want to ask all these champions and people in the boxing world for donations, right, and even have them participate, like I'm sure some of these fighters would even participate, right? Canelo Alvarez, he just donated this X amount for to the Jose Suleiman Foundation and fly him out, you know, to like, I guess, you know, you could do the photo op with the check and everything, and that'll probably get more attention towards your foundation. It'll put more of a light towards your foundation. Maybe like Canelo will put that on his Instagram page, and if you do that with Crawford, same thing with all these fighters, and you could help grow this foundation. You don't have to extort them for the money, bro. Like, you don't have to do that. I'm just saying. If I go to Walmart and I scan all my items, and then like it's just charging me an extra $5, and I look at it, wait, what's going on, right? And it says, it just vaguely says, you know, it's just a fee from Walmart. And I call the manager over. I know, what the fuck is this about? What's this fee? Like what? Oh, we look, man. Most of that, okay, is going to go to the Salvation Army. It's for a good cause. It's to help people in need, right? You know, Salvation Army, you know, the people with the bell and shit, where you could put like the chains inside and all that, you know, ding, 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 and then you could put the money in there. You know, Salvation Army, right? Good cause. I'm glad they do what they do, but you're not going to extort me. If they wanted to ask me, hey, would you like to make a donation? I'll make a donation, bro. But you're not just gonna like charge me extra, and then guilt trip me and extort me and be like, oh yeah, that's totally because this is for a good cause. I mean, it's just $5, you cheap ass. Is that what we're gonna do now? None of you would accept this, right? And I'm only going by what Mauricio Suleiman is saying, by the way. Mauricio Suleiman isn't making the argument you guys are making. Mauricio Suleiman not out here saying, hey, man, business is business. We say this is what we charge for our services, but agree, but you pay. That's not what Mauricio's doing and saying. Mauricio's saying, so for all you making that argument, well, that's not what Mauricio's saying. Mauricio's saying that most of it's going to go to the foundation to help fighters in need. And publicly trying to shame Crawford for not trying to donate money to his foundation. And he's also claiming that he's the reason the WBC it was a big part as to why they made all the money they're making. So you guys, you could spare me with that one, right? I am out of here, though. I appreciate all you. I'm out. Peace.